Alright, this is the tips video. Basically, how I learn what I learn, and what can help you. So, to learn by ear, you must develop your ear. And that can be difficult if you don't know what to do. So my recommendation, the way I started out, if you go to church that sings hymnal songs, it's easier to sing because a whole bunch of people around you are singing, and you have these general notes in the hymnal, the music. And you can kind of guess how much your voice should change just by following with your eyes and hearing it at the same time. So you have the assistance of hearing other people singing it, and it's nice if they sing the other parts: bass, soprano, alto, tenor. So all of those, you hear them and you see them, and then you try it. You're mixing in almost all your senses are involved. So that's the quickest way to start picking up singing on key. Another thing for singing I highly recommend. If you learn to sing on key, that will help develop your ear more than anything else. There's a PlayStation 2 game, there's a whole bunch of them, called SingStar, and you get to sing with very popular songs, and it not only shows you where you see where the pitch is supposed to be that you're singing along with, so you see the words and the pitch, and when you sing into the microphone, it shows you how close you are, like if you're above or below to where you need to be, and you can readjust your voice, and you can change your timing. You can see if you're not hitting it as fast as you want. So that's very good. Another a great app, and this is good for both singing or violin. E-Roll, E-R-O-L is the company. Singer Studio. You want Singer Studio. What Singer Studio is it's a vocal exercise app, and it does the exact same thing with you visualize notes on a scale, and then you got to sing it, and it'll show you how close you are to hitting it. And the violin can also cover the same pitch ranges that app will provide. So if you want to train your ear and see how close you are, you can use that app to do it. I recommend getting better with singing before using a violin for that app. If you can teach yourself to recognize being on key, that's the best. Alright, and one other thing on that. So, oh yeah, whistling. If you can whistle and be on key whistling, like if you're not comfortable with singing, whistling is a good alternative. It helps teach you breath control, and you can practice hitting right pitches, and that also helps train your ear. The other thing that I use is muscle memory. I've been playing guitar since '98, and I've been in a band, been in a couple of worship groups. Basically, the way it's normal for me to play guitar is we'll practice a set of songs just before we perform them live. So I could be totally unfamiliar with the song, and what I do is I commit to muscle memory. Like, it's kind of there are several parts to a song, and they have the same pattern in each part. Like, a verse will have this pattern, like that, and so I do that while they're singing, the drums, like all the involvement is going on, and then I commit that to muscle memory. And so when it comes up to performing, I have a shape, a muscle shape that I just go to. And that shape is also the same technique I use for hitting the right note. And when I say shape, I don't mean sound shape, I mean pattern that the muscles move in. So I know closer based on where my thumb will be rooted, closer to where I'm supposed to be. And since the thumb can be in different spots, you always have to find your first note. Unless you get past that and you just instinctively know, but that takes more work. So that's muscle memory. Also, if you sing and play an instrument, you are forcing yourself to use more muscle memory because you have to focus on singing. And focusing on singing, you have to place your ability in the instrument towards a different part of your mind, and committing it to muscle memory allows you to sing freely and focus on singing. Now, for violin, I watched tons of videos on tips, and most of it was at first setting it up. The post, I didn't have strings, I bought new strings. The post was falling out, and I had to set the bridge. So the bridge needs to be a perfect 90 degree in the back. The sound post should be lined up with the right foot, a little bit behind, and it should be at the same angle as this. So it's parallel to the bridge from here to here, and that's lined up with the foot. Changing that will change the tone on the violin. So, you learn setup, you learn placing the strings as much to the edge as possible to keep the pegs locked in place from slipping out. That's another tip for stringing. Cleaning techniques, you have to rosin a bow for the tone to come out, and rosin will get on the strings. So I keep a napkin to wipe off the strings, clean off the rosin. I haven't seen any videos of cleaning off the rosin, but basically it cakes on there, and there's no need to play with caked rosin. With the bow, basically you store it loose, you tighten it, and they say pencil width, but you can actually go more or less, depends on how you're going to be playing. If you want more bounce, you go tighter. If you want it to bounce less, like you're going to play really soft, sensitive songs, you can loosen it just a little bit more. I wouldn't go too close. Well, I don't think it matters if it hits a stick. Don't touch this, by the way. Don't let the grease on your fingers get on the string. As far as cleaning the strings, don't use alcohol or anything like that. Use hand soap, like from a soap bar, and use a comb, napkin, hand soap, rinse it, wash it with soap. That's a tip I learned from another video, and that's the best. Don't ever use rubbing alcohol. That's like, alcohol is apparently some sort of expert technique, and you can do bad things with alcohol. Alright, so on to this. The most important part of holding the bow is lining up your thumb and your middle finger. Alright, that's primarily your pivot. Tension and balance is handled by the front and back. They say the proper technique is to have your pinky sitting on top, and these fingers should kind of sit like that. But I haven't quite mastered that. I just focus on this. That's all I really need, and I'm just roughly the rest is just sitting on there. Practice scales when you're trying to get a little familiar with the violin. And for that, you should probably listen to it. I recommend training your ear. So for tuning your violin, I don't recommend a tuner unless you really don't have your ear trained. I recommend getting some audio files online that have the proper tunings, E, A, D, B, for your violin, played in an audio file. So I tune by ear every time. And let's see, so the rest, I guess, for me, is trying to get my arm to do what it's not used to. And this arm, like, muscles get tight, especially if you drink coffee. So always stretch. Be able to stretch your arm. You want to be able to fully extend and be relaxed when you do this. For this, when I don't have my violin handy, I practice bending my hand back and like a visual, not a magician, but when people do tricks with objects staying still, here, let me give you an example. So if I want to keep this still and I still want to flex my arm, I both move my hand and arm. I move my hand and arm in while I move my fingers back. So this is practice for vibrato and creating more flexibility in my arm, and hand, and wrist. But I do this to build up flexibility, because I'm bending my hand back as much as I can this way, and I'm like pulling in my hand and arm. And your arm, like my muscles get tired fast doing this. So I do that every so often, just to make it easier to do. And then the rest is just, you know, when you think of a tone in your mind, you find it on the violin. So I do that for songs like dun 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 dun. There it is. A little off. Dun dun dun. There it is. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun. Yep, that's it. That's off. There we go. That was good. So, yep. Think of the tone. Play it. That way, anything I can think of, I can find on the violin. I just need to work on my agility. So those are the tips and techniques I use for getting to where I am. This is currently week 7, and I'm happy with where I'm at and what I'm able to do. But hopefully that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, something I may have glossed over, feel free to ask. Like I didn't mention applying rosin. When you apply rosin, one thing to note is sometimes if you go like too slow, the rosin might not come off. You might have a light gleam on here and the rosin's not being applied. If you move faster with the violin, you create more friction, and the friction will help take the rosin from here and apply it to the strings. So a little more speed, and also you can tighten the strings for applying the rosin faster. Oops. So yeah, my sister doesn't rosin that often. She doesn't need to. For me, I just rosin every time. It also might depend on the kind of rosin, but if you get any kind of finger grease on here, the rosin will build up, and by running it across it, you know you have a straight, like there's no build-ups along the way. It creates the cleaner, smoother pass as the strings go by. So again, that's my tips video. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'll see y'all later. Ask questions.